Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Tuesday. I believe today is Tuesday. I'm not too sure. It's the 27th, so it is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, and I'm live, which means this is not a pre recorded program. It's on live right now, like all the other ones. And I'm not sure if people are following me or not, or people have the capability of listening, or YouTube has some type of notice that goes on and say, there's a live message going on right now, or maybe it posted itself. I mean, lets it stand by itself on the menu of all the YouTubers that are out there in YouTube land. So that way the this communication is not wasted. It's not a wasted set of ideas, a wasted set of thinking, a wasted set of communicating to other people, to other persons just like me. Because, for example, right now, you see I have a hat on and I have a blanket on, which means that it's cold in this house. I wish I had central air and central heater and all that fancy stuff, but I don't. And that's why I say, I'm like many of you guys. I mean, just because I have education and just because, well, maybe just because I went to school. I mean, I think a lot of people that have not gone to school are probably more educated. They have better manners. They have better manners. They have better culture. Yeah, better culture, better values. I mean, we all have values, and our value system determines our character and who we are and what we stand for. And as an independent voter like I am, which I'm going to vote very soon, I just need a ride. I'm waiting for the person who gives me a ride to call me and let me know that they're going to come and pick me up, and I'll be going to the voting polls to vote, meaning that they're going to have some time in their hands in order for them to wait around for me to vote. I wanted to I wanted to vote through mail, absentee voting, but to this day, the high rollers of Texas have not answered me because that's what they are, high rollers. They were low rollers like me and like you guys. Should I say you and me? I mean, we'll be more expedient. I mean, we do things fast. We don't wait around and bullshit around. Sorry for the word. Uh, just to fool around and just waste time. Some of these people that have money, they say, "Oh, well, I don't waste my time." Well, I think they do. They do waste their time in more ways than one, and they are not in tune with reality, with what we have to live through. Have to, we have a timeline for our jobs. In my case, job and a half, and I have to meet it. I mean, I have to meet those timelines. I have to meet what they say, what they don't say, what they want or not have. And today, they kicked us out early, so here I am. I I usually come here, join you guys in the YouTube land, in the Twitter land, and in all the other platforms that are out there later in the day. But today they let us go out early. Whatever the excuse they gave us about the coronavirus is meaningless. And the coronavirus is it's an actual situation that we're going through. We can name a series of viruses that we have had in this last, let's say, 5 years, maybe 7 years. We had the Zika virus. I don't know how many remember that, the Zika virus. That was during Obama still. Zika virus came and went. Then we had the SARS 2, which was also not a happy camping virus, and it came and went. Then we had the H1N1 virus, and came and went. Then we had the swine flu virus. Swine flu virus. And they took the necessary precautions and it came and went. Then we had the Ebola virus, which was a lot more dangerous and a lot of more dramatic. It had more drama in it. and it lasted a little bit longer than what the people who were tackling it expected. But they got it under control. It came and went, and now we have the SARS virus, the COVID-19, which is an evolution of the other SARS virus that was around in a couple of years back. But this one has not come and gone. We have not been able to conquer it. We have not been able to wipe it out. We have not been able to mitigate it. And the leadership in this country has failed us, point blank. Why? They woke up too late. That's pretty much it. They were fooling around, and fooling around doesn't give you anything. And they say time is money. Well, in this case, time was lives. And time was lives means we got more dead and we got more sick people because the necessary things were not taken in place and done right. Everything that's done under a bullying, a yelling, a threatening environment doesn't conduce to anything. And once somebody pulls rank, military, very well. Anybody who's been in the military knows very well what I'm talking about. Anybody who pulls rank doesn't always get the right results. Unfortunately, that's the truth how this works. And I hate to say it, but the Trump man, that's what he did. He he pulled out all kinds of tools that were not necessary for what we were going through. There were other means that are more necessary. Himself was a vehicle, but he didn't use himself. And then time went on, and we've got a bunch of dead people, and we still got it here. I mean, we haven't even been able to curb. We a little bit we mitigated it, but then it resurfaced, and now it's spiking everywhere. Spiking here in Texas, even though he says, no, no, Texas is not that. Come on, man. Don't malarkey us. I'll use a Biden word. Don't malarkey us, Donald Trump. It's spiking here, spiking in Iowa, it's spiking in Nebraska, spiking in Dakota, spiking in Colorado, it's spiking everywhere. And this, what, it's not spiking? Come on, man. Don't malarkey us again, I say. Because that's what you're doing. And you're probably having a rally right now, and you're giving all this nonsense to the people, and the people are swallowing it because gotta give it to you. Gotta give credit to where credit belongs. You're a pretty good showman. You developed a showmanship over the years when you had the American Beauty pageant. You were owner of it. You came out on stage in many ways, and you probably took lessons and learned from some of the people how to exaggerate things and make things laughable and make things ridiculous and downgrade people. And since people are not investigating and not fact checking because that's what they told you people don't do, and at the end of the day they do it. They fact check you. But since those were little sporadic things, you were out there in the beauty pageant world, nobody cared. I mean, nobody paid attention to you. Maybe that's what's hurting you today. It's that people are still not paying attention to you, and you want all the attention to be on yourself. That's what the Trump man wants. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, you look at it, you analyze it. Thank you to my friend, and I gotta give thanks to my friend on the air because he's another one like Donald Trump. He likes to be recognized for his merits. In this case, he does have merits. I mean, gotta give merits to where merit belongs. Edmund Hollingsworth, he continues to do, has done, and continues to do excellent research for us, for both of us. Although I'm the face on this video and I'm the one talking in this video, and I got a little bit better analytical skills than he does, but he has good analytical skills. I don't say he doesn't. He does. I mean, he might downgrade himself, but I mean, I don't downgrade him. I think he got good at analytical skills. In some areas, I'm better than he is. In some areas, he's better than I am. So we complement each other. And but he does better research than I do. He knows how to follow the thread and find the needle in the haystack. So let me do this thing. Let me show you. That's my email for all the people who want to email me and give me your comments. I don't know if it's coming out right or wrong, or I don't know how it looks on your end. The people viewing me, I don't know if it's coming out right, but that's the email: vi little I with a dot on the top, viva 783149 at gmail.com. I hope it's coming out right. I mean, that's the best I could do because as I told you, I'm low tech. And low tech people like me, especially low tech and no money, we're not exactly at the peak of big deal. So let's take another continue to look on the different points that we're having right now, and that probably he's doing it as I speak. He probably has a rally right now. It's going to be 7 o'clock. It's quarter to seven, and he probably has a rally right now somewhere in the U.S. And he's pointing fingers. That's one of the key points. So if you want to write down keywords, pointing fingers, blaming others for things that could have been curbed. And I'm going to use the word curved because that's the correct word to use. Something being curved, that means it's not hitting a straight bullseye, but it's curved. It's shed away, you push it away. He could have curbed the coronavirus, but he did not. He did not. Why? We don't know. And we don't know because he's a secretive individual. Take that into consideration. Now, if you look at his videos, I mean, if anybody wants to do research on Donald Trump, there's a time. I mean, he opens the door. I mean, he's not an open door character, but he has a trail that he left behind where you can actually see the videos, the television videos, the radio videos, the podcasts, all those that were, in some cases, they're more radio than other things because remember, he comes back you go back to the 80s, 1980, and many of those sound bites are more on the radio side, but he also has some television interviews. And if you look at those interviews and you look at him now, he hasn't changed that much. He has not changed that much. He looks older, uglier, more orange, but he's the same man. And unfortunately, to us that are not in I mean, to many of you, should I say, to many of you that are not in the business like Edmund Hollingsworth and myself, Vincent, or Vince, if you want to call me, we're in the business of analyzing, doing analytics, analyzing the information, deciphering things, trying to look into what makes things tick. It's like a mechanic, a mechanic plays around with the car and understands how it runs, what's the better performance of the car, what's the better ignition time, all kinds of little intricacies that goes into the car business. And that's something that happens. And that's important in many fields. You can go into the medical field, you can go into any of the engineering fields, you can go into the biology field, you can go into, I mean, you name the field, you can do it. I mean, you can find ways, and you always find people like Edmund and myself that are more in the thinking side who like to look at the information, not too practical. I mean, I don't use my hands too much too well. But thank God that I have some friends and I'm able to hire people. I mean, I used to be able to hire people. Now I got to learn how to do it myself. Consider that I fell in the ditch. Bad choices, you make bad decisions and you make bad choices and you go the wrong way and you hit the wall. So you guys, my recommendation to each and every one of you, make the right choice. Otherwise, you're gonna hit the fan like I did. And look at me, I got a hat on my head, I got a blanket on my back, and I'm down in the ditch. So if you don't, I mean, even if you're poor and not down in the ditch, but you're still poor, you're still at earth level, at the floor level. Hey, count your blessings. But also think about it. Think about how you and everybody else that's around you are better off than people like me. And I count my blessings, even though I'm in the ditch. I count my blessings. I say thank you. Part of my core values is believing in God, believing in the Bible. Those are some of my core values. Even though I'm an independent voter, but I still have those values, and which is going to lead us to the next subject. Trump likes to blow smoke. So take that as a face value. Anybody who's hearing me out there in Twitter land, in YouTube land, in any land, if you have the opportunity to listen to my videos, please do so. I'm not blowing smoke like Donald Trump is. And Donald Trump blows smoke, but he also throws venom. If you understand what I'm saying, throws venom at the people, throws venom at the country. Like there's an animal. I forgot its name. Maybe one of you can remember the name of the animal that he spits poison. If it hits you, it's a lethal poison. It's kind of like a lizard guy. It's not the Gila monster. The Gila monster is poisonous, yeah, but if it bites you. But this one spits at you, and the spit goes into your pores and it poisons you. It doesn't kill you immediately, but if you don't take care of it at that quick enough, yeah, it will kill you. Anyway, so you got all kinds of venomous animals, and Donald Trump is one of those that spits poison at you. In some things, he does have something to say, but in what he says, he threatens people. And since he is the president of the United States. We gotta also give merit to whom merit belongs. He made to the president. He made it to the top, and now he's at the top of the hill, and he doesn't want to come down. He wants to stay there. He has nothing to lose if he stays there. I mean, he has a lot to lose if he comes down from being at the top of the hill. Yet he doesn't want to come down. He's fighting. And he's fighting like one of those cats that's even he's upside down and the dog's about to bite him, but he's still scratching and yelling and screaming and doing everything he can the cat to do to defend. In the case of the cat and the dog, yeah, the cat's defending his ready for his life. In the case of Donald Trump, he is not being threatened by anybody. He wants just to stay in power. Because he stays in power, he's got the bully pulpit. He doesn't have the pulpit to inform the people. He doesn't have the pulpit to talk to the people. He has the pulpit to be the bully pulpit. And at the bully pulpit, he can lie to you. He can shed fake information to you. And who's going to say negative? I mean, even though the newspapers and the media and I, being quasi media, say that he's wrong, and I challenge him with the questions. He's at the bully pulpit, and he has the power to shoot me, to shoot somebody else. He can kill anybody he wants. He shouldn't get away with it, but he feels like he should. He's not above the law, although he feels like he's above the law. Especially if he has people who back him up. So we come to the next concept that we want to touch on: the cabal, or the deep state. Deep state, and it sounds like a movie thing. Deep Space Nine, Star Trek, The Next Generation, or Star Trek, Deep Space, or Star Wars, In the Deep, exploring the ocean in the deep. Anyway, away from all this joke business or funny, hopefully livelier side. But let's look at the deep state or the cabal. Now, if you analyze the deep state, if you analyze the cabal, and you see the history behind those ideologies, those hegemonies. Now, listen to the words that I'm using. Don't just shut them away and go to the dictionary. It's important you understand what a hegemony is and what ideology is. Those two concepts are somewhat related, like a husband and a wife, like a brother and a sister, but but how they are put to use in the real world is very different, because we have an ideology right now, a democracy, a place where we can express ourselves, a place where we can protest, a place where we can vote and change something, a vote where we can go to city council and then from there work our way up to the state and then from the state to the. So there's different venues or different avenues that we can take and create a change. We can start a movement. Under some ideologies, it is no can do. Other, on the hegemony side, is the most definite you cannot do it. Once the hegemony is put in play, might as well kiss yourself goodbye, because we're under a dictatorship. I mean, putting it in a blunt way, we're under a dictatorship. I mean, you do what the state says, or you do it or you do it. That's pretty much it. There's no question whether you want to do it, whether you like to do it. Now you do it or you do it. If not, they'll cancel you out. And they don't care. They do not care a bit. To you, you are expendable. To me, I'm expendable. You guys are expendable. We are expendable to the state. Now, they should consider us essential to the state, because if the less people they have, who's going to work in their factories? Who's going to work in their service industry? Who's going to work in their small business? Unless these cabal people start working for themselves, they become the jack of all trades. They'll make the computer, they'll run the computer, they'll program the computer, they'll make the car, they'll run the car, they'll maintain the car, they do the parts of the car, the carburetor, the engine, the pistons, and everything. They can do it. Oh yeah, I mean, it's a one-man shop, and pretty much that's the way it comes down to, because they start eliminating people that don't agree with the cabal or the deep state. Now, let's go back to the blaming game that I started out with. There's a lot of people that like to blame things. When I start saying the blowing smoke and all this stuff, and then condemning people, and then saying, you should vote for me. I'm the one. I'm the one who will bring prosperity. When they start saying that, be careful, man. Be careful. I mean, take 3 or 4 steps backwards and look at the picture and say, man, this doesn't sound right. See, those are dead giveaways. You gotta stop and think. Use your head. That's why God gave you a head, so you can think. Now, some people are rebellious. That's, that's another word that you should think about. Rebellion. Some people are rebellious. I mean, you have kids that are rebellious. They're growing up and they rebel against their parents, and they rebel against anybody else. And of course, then you got parents who are rebellious to their parents, and then they have kids that are rebellious to them. So the chain goes on and on and on until somebody straightens out the road or some straightens out their behavior, and then the curse on the generations begins to alleviate. But the generations are cursed when one generation kisses the devil's ass and rebels against their parents, and then their kids rebel against them, and the kids of their kids rebel against them as parents. So the curse on those generations can go on from 7 to 10 to 12 to 15 years. It's a generational curse, and people who are in tune with the Bible, who are in tune with a good church, they should understand what I'm talking about when I say those. And Donald Trump is a cursed individual. His parents or his further up the line and the ancestral line, somebody kissed the devils on the ass, and everybody after that have been kissing the devil on the ass. Does that mean that they're condemned to be poor, like I am in this situation? No, they're not. They can be rich as hell. They're gonna be stinking rich. Still doesn't the curse doesn't go away. It just means that the curse has allowed them to be stinking rich. So it happens in many families in many ways. So then it's not unique to one person. It's across the board. There's millions of people who are cursed in many ways. But let's go back to the Trump man. Yeah, the Trump man somehow is cursed, but anyway, he blames people. There's a blaming game. That's where I was. That was my point. Obama blamed somebody else. I mean, he was blaming Bush for everything, and Bush was blaming the predecessor for everything. So the blaming game has been coming down since Bush. More has been more accented, has been more pronounced. The blaming game, they blame the guy before, and they blame the other people before them. And the Trump man is the same way. He's blamed Obama for everything. He blamed Joe Biden for everything. He blames his mother for everything. I mean, the guy blames everybody. He is not at fault. He is clean as a whistle. Can you believe that? Tell me, do you honestly believe that he's clean as a whistle? That he's a clean sheet of paper or a clean sheet that goes on the bed? Is he white as snow? Answer me that question. Everybody who supports Trump, who hears my video, answer me that question. Is he white as snow? Is he blemish free? If you can answer me that question, let's go to the next one. Does he take responsibility? Does he? Will he stand up and say, I take responsibility for all this and I screwed up? Will he do that? Will he say, sorry, American people, because I screwed up? Will he say that? More likely the answer is no. There's corruption in this country. That's a fact. There is corruption in this country. More and more, there's more corruption. But where is that corruption in play? So if we're flying, let's pretend, let's do the Barney imagination trick. Barney, the Barney, the character Barney, the pink dinosaur. So let's do the Barney trick and say that in our imagination, we're flying over the Capitol. And there's two parties. You can see them very clearly. There's the Democrats and there's the Republicans. Which one of those is not corrupt? That's a question. Which one of those two is not corrupt? Now, there in this question, and in the previous questions, comes in your value system. Your value system. Because there, when you answer that question, you have to be honest with yourself in answering that question. Because if you're biased to yourself, that means you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to God. And that is an unexcusable attitude and behavior. So you don't lie to God because God knows immediately that you're lying to Him. And don't lie to yourself because you know immediately that you're lying to yourself. So be true. This last question that I asked rolls back. There was a girl on TikTok who I thought it was an interesting question that she rose. Although she did it on the nasty side, but it's worth repeating her question because it kind of illustrates a whole deal of what's happening right now. So she starts by saying that Clinton, Slick Willie, got a BJ free. Now think about that. William Clinton, Bill Clinton, Slick Willie, got a BJ free. And Donald Trump got a BJ and it cost him $130,000. The question there is which one is the better businessman? Which one is the better negotiator? And which one is the one who makes a better deal? See, so all three questions are connected to each other. Because if you can tell me who's the best deal maker, then all the other questions has an easy answer. But think about that. That gal is pretty on the dot. Who got the better deal? The one who paid nothing or the one who paid 130,000? So that's a question for you guys to ponder on. And before you attack me, that because I'm an independent voter. You're attacking an independent voter who is neither left or right and who has values, Christian values. And I believe in the Bible and I believe in the Almighty God. And I go to church and I believe in the sanctity of the parents. And I believe things can be set right if we act right. So that's what brought me out to come out here and talk to you all because I believe it's time for me to communicate some of the many hours I spent studying, going to school. And I hope you learn from me, got be careful how you choose things. Same here. We got to be careful who we choose for the next president because we are victims of our own choices. We can't be blaming other people for our own choices. I could blame somebody else. I could blame a ton of people for why I'm in the ditch. But what's the purpose? I mean, what am I going to get out of it? What's well? There's nothing that I can say that will change the situation that I'm in right now. So I'm hoping I can change it. So I'm hoping that I can find a way out. I can reinvent myself. I can get out of this ditch. But it's There's no reason why to blame anybody else. We make choices, and we sometimes we screw up, and that's what I did. I screwed up, and I'm sorry for screwing up. But here I am in front of you guys talking to YouTube, and I appreciate it. I thank YouTube for letting me talk on this live channel. Hopefully, they're able to put the YouTube in on the platform. That way, other people can click on it and hear me out. But that's what it is. We have to work together. We have to live together. We have to harmonize together. And we can't do it if we're going to have some nutcase in the White House that is losing his mind. I mean, he talks about, oh, eugenics, horse race. All that has to do the same thing. He comes out with those names, all the horse race theory, it's the eugenics theory. Why don't they say it? And he likes to be mysterious, and he likes to all these caption words. But caption words are not going to change the essence of the product. You got to say chocolate because that's what it is, not cocoa, but chocolate. Okay, so things have to be placed in the right context, in the right word, and we can't be. I mean, here's another one: Black America or the African American. I feel like I'm empowered to say Black America, Black man, Black woman, because I marched in the Freedom March. I was part of the people who marched in the Freedom March, and even then, at that point that I was part of the Freedom March of the Civil Rights Movement, I analyzed it. I looked at it with critical thinking, critical vision, and say, wait a minute, what's going on? This is not right. It's not right what's going here with a bunch of people that surround me, and it's not right for things that are moving in this direction. So what's happening to the crowd? And you get all these people that got all these names attached to them that are really not in favor of something that is legitimate. It's a legitimate situation, the civil rights. We need to be under one roof. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect country, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. Where's the social justice? Where's the domestic tranquility? Where's the we the people? Under a more perfect country, we all live together. We're all created equal. We are all created equal. There's no sense. There's no bits, buts, or for we're not created equal. We are created equal. And I have here's the Constitution of the United States. For those that can see it, I mean, I try to kind of looks backwards, but this is the Constitution of the United States. I got it from Hillside College. It's all the Constitution here, the whole shebang. I just got it in the mail. The whole Constitution is, and that's the little print. You gotta you gotta use little print to squish it all into that little booklet. But it's all there. I can read it. The parts that are littler, I need to use a magnifying glass, but that's what happens when you get old. We lose our vision. And we no longer have the vision that we should. So, we use magnifying glass in order to read the smaller print. So there's some glasses that I saw on TV. They were announced that you can adjust them from up here. And you're able to increase the magnification in order to read small print, which I wish I had the money to buy it. Believe me. And anyway, let's go back over here to what we're doing. So We defined ideology, which is the set of values and the mindset that we work in and we live in and we're under. And hegemony is the structure that shapes that ideology that we have. So the people who study political science are pretty much attuned to what I'm talking about. Although my degree is in economics, macroeconomics, I studied my master's is in political economics, which gives me a broader view of both stepping into the political science world as well as the economic world as well as the business world. So I encompass all three worlds, and I'm able to have a better picture of what's going on in our country or anywhere else. You can put me in any country, and in 2 months, I have broken that country down into its minuscule species, into small pieces, and be able to explain how they operate, what they're doing. But that's not. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about what's going on in our country. So political hegemony is a very important concept for you to learn, because what Donald Trump is communicating to us is a political hegemony that stems out of what is called nationalism. Now, for many people, they say, "Oh, nationalism. That means that we're patriots." No, it doesn't. No, 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 no. Patriotism is one thing, and nationalism is another. Got to understand the difference. The dichotomy. You got to use a fancy word. Dichotomy. Got to understand the difference between they're not interchangeable. They're not intermingled. They all stand alone. Either you're a patriot or you have nationalism, or you stand on a nationalism. Democracy is another one. Socialism is another one. Communism is another one. And nationalism is another one. See how they all are different? Now, there's sometimes certain combinations, like a social democrat. That doesn't mean that is far, far from the idea that they are socialists. I mean, even though their name carries a piece of what it says socialism, but when you have democracy in play as to how we have it structured in this world, it's part of the market economy. Now, notice that I said market. I didn't say capitalism, but that's another one. But capitalism is what governs the market economy. But the market economy can hold it's just like if you have two hands and you can hold something in the hands, it holds social democrats because they're not running away from capitalism. No, sorry. No, sorry. No, 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 no. They are not going anywhere far away from capitalism. Now, what's one of the characteristics of capitalism that everybody knows? The housewife knows it. Every housewife in this country and around the world knows the concept of money. And that's one of the characteristics of capitalism. Money. And money, many people say it, and you can check me on this. It's what makes the world go round. Many people say that. Now, if you look at the movie Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps, which is Wall Street #2, one thing that Gordon Gago, in his only presentation in the movie, he says that greed is legal now. So if he's saying greed, GREED, greed is legal now, that means it was illegal before. So if marijuana is legal today in Colorado, in I don't know, there's a couple of states that they already legalized it. You, it wasn't legal before, but it's legal now. And many of the 50 states still is illegal, and it's illegal as a federal in the federal system. Now, take into consideration this, and like I said, I have the autonomy and the know-how and the research and scholastic behind me that can allow me to speak on this areas. So in the state, in our public administration, or within this public administration, which when I say public administration, take note of this. Take note of this. Public administration encompasses all 50 states and territories. So, and foreign policy. So, public administration encompasses a whole lot more than some people give it credit for. It encompasses foreign policy, everything that the government does. So, the government is not just sitting there idle fretting doing one thing, it does many things. So, even though I'm going to step on my toes, maybe, but I'm going to venture into doing this. And this is to leave a footprint that maybe I said it first, or maybe I did say it first. I haven't found it in the literature. I've looked at research papers, white papers, books. I haven't found it. I found the concept in other books dealing with another discipline that I fell in love with, which is social anthropology. And yeah, I found it there, but that topic pertains to another world. But I merged those topics. See, once you get deep into the rabbit hole, and you're down in the rabbit hole, and you're looking for and seeking the truth, because one thing remember, the truth will set you free. That Bible says it, Jesus said it, God said it. The truth will set you free. So as we're looking for the truth, let's look at this concept, this analogy. Let's call it an analogy. Now, there's organized crime. You pretty much know and they're crime families. Some bigger, some smaller, some better organized than others. The more organized, the better structured. Crime families are the least to become visible in the world. I mean, they exist, they are around, people know about them, but they can't touch them because they're very well structured. You get as you go down the ladder, of course, you come down to those that can easily be touched by the police, by the governments, by the mayors. You know, Giuliani was one who touched an organized crime family, but yeah, there's theories around that how he got them. Many things are not as clear as we would wish we would like. They're not that clear, they're murky, murky waters. And we'll talk about the murky waters later. So just look out for the murky waters segment, and we'll talk about murky waters. But going back to the organized crime family, like I said, some are very sophisticated, well structured, tentacles all over the world. I can name one right now that is not here in this country, which I can name one here in this country, but I'm going to just select one outside of the country in a place where the eyes of the United States are on that country like hawks, and that's Colombia. So one of the big crime organizations that you see there is the Cartagena syndicate. or the Cartagena cartel. Very well structured cartel, probably the one that had, and we're going to equivalent. I'm going to use names that you can identify. For example, if you want to see a woman leader, where would you see a woman leader more challenged? You can say a foreign country like the Philippines, or you can say some other country like India. You might the U.S., Canada, Mexico. The name of country just goes on and on and on. But I think, and this is my own personal observation, I think for somebody to raise to power, to climb to power, and it's a challenging world. I mean, heavily challenged for the integrity or for the person, for a woman to become CEO or head of the Cartagena cartel, man, that's merit. That is merit. I don't think Trump could go to the top of the Cartagena cartel. Not in his wildest dreams. But anyway, that's so. Yeah, there was a woman there, and I mean, it's structured. It's well organized. It's well structured. There's rotation in that, so it's a dynamic world in the Cartagena cartel, which makes it a lot more sophisticated. So I'm going to equate the government to one of those organizations. Now, where is the corruption? That's a question. Where is the corruption and how many layers of corruption do we have as a government? I can tell you I mean, I can't tell you because I lived it. I haven't lived it. I wish I had. But from research, from reviews, from newspapers, the press is not fake news. I mean, it's just kind of new half truths. Let's call it not fake news. They're half truths. But we'll talk about fake news in another YouTube. What is important right now is for you to understand that the government and the organized crime are one and the same when it comes to structure and power and exercise of power. If it was more of a democracy, more of an ideal situation, you would have somebody else looking over your shoulder. But like the Trump man has proved, other presidents have been a little bit more prudent. Not all of them. Yet we haven't learned as a society, as a government, that we gotta tamper down the power of the president. He has power, but he should not have absolute power. He should be cross-checked. And the congressmen and the senators need to be cross-checked too. We can't have power players in Congress that dominate the other congressmen and intimidate the other senators, either or, senators or representatives. We need to have people who have an equal mind, an equal share, and learn to work together. They are not learning to work together. They have ganged up. They have little mini gangs inside the Congress. See what I mean? See what I mean? How all of a sudden it's starting to look like an organized crime family. Got all these little gangs. Mitch McConnell, he's the head of the senators. Come on, man. Give me a break. And all the senators have to follow the dingbat. And then you got Ted Cruz. Oh, he's another gang leader. And everybody has to follow Ted Cruz because he says all these things that matter. Of course not. He doesn't say things that matter. They matter to him, but they don't matter to us. They don't matter to us in Texas. I mean, where do we see the benefit of anything he's done here in Texas? I don't see the benefit of what he's done here in Texas. I don't feel it. I don't see it. I don't hear it. He Connolly, I think that's his name, or the other senator that we have up there who's running for office. I hope they kick him out. But still, you're looking at somebody who I have not seen, felt, or heard, or even smelled anything that those two bozos do that help my community, that help the community of others around me, that help other communities here in Texas. I don't see it. I don't see how they contribute in any form and fashion to Greg Abbott, who's the governor here. Another situation that's kind of bizarre. So why do we have the Texas legislature if we don't? If we have, if somebody's going to be dictating what's going on and they have the final vote, it's not worth it. I mean, what's the purpose of? So as you can see, there's little gangs and leadership that is a simile. What it's called a simile. It's comparable to organized crime because who the crime families at least take care of themselves and they take care of the families around them. Yeah, they don't take care of us. They don't take care of me. They don't take care of my neighbors. They don't take care of anybody around here. I mean, what's the purpose of Abbott? You know, oh, he did this. He wrote this executive order, and now we're gonna be like this. That's all he does. Executive orders. We're gonna now he wrote another executive order. Now we can't go out. Now he wrote another executive order. We gotta wear a mask. Well, now he. But where's the logic behind any of this? Where's that? There's something that has to be said. Well, what are they? They have the tools. At that level, they have the tools. Over here at the bottom, like I am, the bottom of the ditch, I don't have any tools. I mean, thank God I got the computer here that I can talk to you. But where's the tools? Where's the tools, people? Where's the knowledge to go ahead and set up the chat board so you guys can talk live with me and I can answer questions live for you? I can. I showed you my email. You can write me your ideas. You can write me your suggestions. Some people took the email the other time I showed it. This time I decided to write it so let's go back to a little bit of what's going on here. So another topic that comes in before I close out this is race. And I said that I walked with the Freedom Group back in the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King. And I noticed that Donald Trump quotes Luther King, other people quote Luther King, some of the church people quote Luther King. It's name dropping. I guess everybody knows what a name dropper is. You drop names of something that is not anything real to you. It's a name dropper. And they name drop Martin Luther King after he's dead. Somebody sent out a killer after him, and they killed him. They put a mark on his head, a bullseye on his head, so somebody can kill him. And that's what happened. Not that that was the idea that was supposed to happen. I mean, but that's what they did. He was getting too close. He was getting too high, and people didn't like what he was preaching, what he was saying, and the movement and the amount of people that were following him. Because when I marches, I saw different. I mean, I saw uh, a lot of people, a lot of races, whites, browns, blacks. I mean, I consider myself brown, but they didn't consider me brown. But anyway, it doesn't matter what they consider me or what I consider. What matters is there were a lot of people there. They were not black, and we were marching. There were Jews in there. So with that, I can tell you everything. There were Jews in those marches. So they were picking up a lot of strength. And then on the other hand, you had the Chicano movement going on. On the middle of the ground, you had the female movement going on. So all that fell under the umbrella of the civil rights movement. So it became one giant umbrella that covered three movements, and they all wanted the same thing at the end of the day. They wanted the right to vote, they wanted their own civil liberties, and they didn't want to be attacked, harassed, incriminated, profiled. So, 100 years later, what happens? Continues to be profiled. The police continue to be abusive. And the people who came back from Vietnam, I mean, they are aware of that situation. They should be the ones to step up to the table and say, wait a minute, the police are abusive. The police are not no angels of charity. They're abusive, and they are overstepping their delegated authority. And the people in the congressional area up in the states, in every state, the legislature of every state should take a real cold look and analytical group at the police organization. I'm not saying the police are bad. I kid you not. I am not saying the police are bad. I'm just saying that there are police that are abusive and they overstep their delegated authority, which they should not. They should respect their delegated authority and call the attention of the citizens. At one time, you almost 150 years back, the citizens could say, I'm going to put this, I can do a citizen's arrest, and they will respect that. But over time, over the next 150 years, they took that away from the citizenship. Now the police are more abusive, and they were abusive from back in the civil rights movement. I saw them. I saw them how abusive they were. And they say, "Oh, well, I got to take care of my job." Well, then what about everybody else? You think they don't got a job? We all have a job. Oh, but I got to take care of my life. Well, what about everybody else? You think we have shields or some invisible aura that surrounds us that no matter what you do, it's not going to hurt us? Come on, what kind of, and I'm sorry I'm going to say this, Mr. YouTube, what kind of dumb shit says all those remarks? So, fear for the lives, what are they talking about? How about the the people who are asking, we're demonstrating because we're asking for understanding, for change of something that is hurting us. And one of the things that is hurting us is the police. Oh, I love the police, says Donald Trump. Yeah, he hides behind the police because he's in the bully pulpit. He hides behind the military. Oh, I like the military. I fund the military. Yeah, he hides behind them because he's in the bully pulpit and because he wants to, you know, remember what I said about hegemony, what I said about ideology, what I said about the four concepts that we need to finish explaining: democracy, Republican, uh, Republican, a republic, socialism, communism, nationalism. And patriotism is just the action of the people for the love of their country. It has nothing to do with the other six things. Patriotism is patriotism here and everywhere. A Frenchman can be patriot to his own country, France. A guy from Scandinavia can be patriot to his own Scandinavian country. A person from Yugoslavia can be a patriot to his own Yugoslavia. A Russian can be a patriot to his own Russia. So patriotism is a label that expresses the love of the person for that country, or the honor and respect that person has for that country. So remember what I said: honor and respect, and they identify with that country. It's an identity because that's what they are. They're not Canadians, they're not Mexicans, they're not Colombians, they're not Argentinians, they're not Swedish, they're not Danish, they're not from Holland, they're from the US. So That gives the identity something to stand on, the identity something to crystallize on, which is a democracy in the United States of America. Having said that, you got to take in consideration that socialism is not a part of the United States hegemony or ideology. Communism is not a part of the of the ideology and hegemony of the United States of America. Republic and democracy is a part of the United States of America. Remember what I said: republic and democracy combined. Now, somebody like a Bernie Sanders comes around and says, "Oh, I'm a social democrat." He can say whatever he wants, but in the essence, he is not. He can express certain ideas that are beneficial to our society, which in some cases they say that he is a social democrat. ¿Qué quiere, oiga? ¿Qué pasó? ¿De qué? Me dijo que a las 8. Me dijo a las 8. Yo por eso no estoy allá con ella, porque me dijo a las 8. Estoy viendo el reloj. Bueno, ahorita voy para allá. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got to cut it short. They call me for my job. I got to go work. Well, it was nice talking to everybody. God bless everybody. And I hope on the next video that I put up, we'll be able to touch base on those isms. Just remember one thing: the U.S. is a republic and a democracy combined. And we are not in socialism, we are not in communism, and we're not even going in that direction. Now, there's a big danger with nationalism. That is a big danger for us. And Donald Trump represents a lot of what that is of nationalism. He doesn't represent the benefit for us, for we the people. He doesn't represent the best for the U.S. states, Colorado, Texas, Nevada, Iowa, Michigan, you name the state. He's not representing the best for those states. He doesn't have the best intentions. So it's important that you think about that. Think about those concepts that I told you. This guy, he is not thinking about the best health for the U.S. because he has a strong foothold on what is known as nationalism. And the person who we can look back in history who stood on that precise word and changed the country, and then when everything was already changed, they had to change it back to be a democracy, which was Germany. And no, consider the atrocities that happened in Germany when Hitler was there, Adolf Hitler. Remember how he turned everybody around. He's the one who talked about eugenics. Today, Donald Trump called the horse race. He can call whatever he wants. He can change the name however the speech writers want to change the name. But the truth of the matter, that's what it is, eugenics. Because everything he said, good genes, good people, you're going to last long, you got a clear head, you're smarter, you have a high IQ, and all those characteristics are part of the eugenics thinking of back in the nationalism of, in fact, Hitler called it social nationalism. Social nationalism. Think about that. Think about how we, the people, are going to live under a situation like that. Our founders, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, they all had something to thrive for, and walk away from King George in England, which later England slowly turned turned the corner to become more of a democracy than a dictatorship that it used to be under the King George. But that's what it was, a dictatorship under King George. So you want to think about all that I'm saying, and we better move forward in this thing so we can have a better understanding of ourselves. Hopefully you hear my video. Hopefully my video doesn't go astray, and hopefully we look better. We look at forward for maybe Thursday. You all take care. God bless you.